My name is Bethany Hillman. I'm a senior at McNamara College, and I am presenting my strategic plan for the parks and playgrounds of Jacksonville, Illinois. The vision of the Jacksonville, Illinois community is for caring parents to be able to rely on the parks and playgrounds to be a safe and positive space for youth of the community to play and have fun. My needs assessment was based on Midwest Youth Services, their concerns about the community that came up through clients, discussion and stuff like that, and there was three concerns that came up: bullying on playgrounds and parks, obesity and health concerns for the community, and crime rates on parks and playgrounds. Ambassadors for Kids did a study in 2014 that found that every 7 minutes a child is bullied on a playground or park, and that means, and therefore 85% of the time they found that there was no intervention in the bullying, that it just was let happen and there was no stopping to it. I actually witnessed this over in Jefferson Park, where it was the first annual Cops for Kids that Midwest Services put on. And in that area that it was supervised playground area, there was a group, probably about 3 or 4 girls that were probably about 5th or 6th grade, and then there was this older boy, probably about 16, and they were just started getting into it, and he was all like, I'm going to punch you in the face, I'm going to do this, I'm going to hurt you, all this very negative and harmful attitude, and like getting right up in them, and I had to intervene. But I mean, if we hadn't been there, how much does that occur regularly on a basis? The next issue was health concerns for this area, and Passament Area Hospital did a health needs assessment that found for Morgan County they actually were higher on obesity rates, blood pressure, and other health concerns. 26% of Morgan County had a higher obesity rate than the 26.3% of Illinois. And for crime, a study was published in 2011 that found more crime happens on parks and playgrounds than it does in other areas. This is due because it's kind of like an unowned space, if you will say, because it's free for everybody. It kind of gives an open avenue for crime to happen and stuff. To counteract these 3 needs assessments, there would be 3 goals in place for each one. Goal 1 would be completed by Midwest Youth Services and Parks Foundation together in collaboration. It would be to provide education about bullying and prevention awareness to the community, as well as providing maybe signage around the parks, just to kind of like a reminder that if you see something happening, you can intervene, and kind of like the little tips on how to do that. And how that would be obtained through action steps would be to research the best signage and knowledge and way to teach people how to intervene with bullying and things like that, and then contacting the schools, maybe to give it to the children. And again, either most schools have that bullying education, and then different clubs, communities, colleges, just people who are generally around parks and different playgrounds and stuff like that. And then the next would be researching how much it would cost to provide this information, pamphlets, signage, and then how much it would cost to make the signs and put them up in different areas and stuff like that. The second goal would address the obesity and the need for exercise within the community. This would be completed by Midwest Youth Services and Parks Foundation again. And how this goal would be completed is a youth service, kind of like a youth community center, that would either be created or bought or hopefully donated by someone in 3 different ways. It could be a building could be donated by the city or by someone, or a building could be bought by the city, or there would have to be the possibility of having to buy land and build a community service, like community center. And this would be located more on central side of Jacksonville, where it would be walkable for everybody, like youth, to be able to walk to it and not have to go very far, need a car, or anything like that. And the objective for that would be to provide that youth center, and there would be staff, volunteers that would need to be found, trained. There would need to be research on how the funding was going to come to either buy or remodel a building. There would need to be funding for different equipment and programs, computers, everything that would have to do with exercise and learning and a happy, fun space. The third goal would address the crime on parks and playgrounds, and this would be, again, a collaboration between Parks Foundation and Midwest Youth Services. to go, someone from either group, maybe like 2 people together, to contact the Jacksonville PD Police Department and then set up a meeting with the police chief and talk to him about the issues, talk to him about the concerns that have in the community, what he thinks, and try to get an agreement signed for maybe more patrolling on the parks or see what kind of ideas he has and stuff like that. My SWOT analysis was done of Midwest Youth Services. The internal strengths of that place, agency, is they have a good educated staff members that are committed and stuff like that. They have, they have good connections within the community and long-standing relationship. They're pretty known for like children's services and stuff like that. They have valuable services. Their weaknesses as an agency is their administrative processes, like their policies and stuff like that aren't really written. They kind of need to have like a policy handbook. They don't really have anything written. They just kind of like, oh, I think it's that or that. They need updated information and training. They've started doing updated training, but they need a little bit more, and they've just started that process again. There's lack of funding. They actually had some cut of funding last year. And for their external opportunities, there's opportunities for funding for them to be able to get and go after. There is a growth within the community and a need for this. There is opportunities for collaborations between other agencies that they could work with on these issues. For their threats, threats would be other services that provide services to children could be seen as competition. There is the issue that there are lots of other little threats. For my budget, revenue would include grants, United Way, donations, corporate contributions, fundraising, and miscellaneous. And the revenue, the expenses for this project would be staff and wages, utilities, fringe benefits, equipment, printing and copying, phones, services, telephone stuff, traveling and meeting for trainings and stuff like that, marketing and advertising, like advertising the youth center, advertising the signs or information, kind of like presentations, staff and volunteer training, contract services for building the building or updating the buildings for the youth center and other things, supplies and materials, and miscellaneous. In closing, this overall strategic plan proposal will provide a framework for the community to organize together to address the following needs of bullying and crime and obesity and exercise issues within Morgan County in this area. And this would ensure and provide a healthy and happy community. Any questions?
I have a question. So one of the threats you mentioned was potentially a new community center being viewed as competition by others. I guess my question would be, wouldn't, are you setting up a proposal that has sort of like the community decides which option, or is it more because if you establish a new community center, wouldn't that draw away from the use of the playgrounds?
It would be provided, like, it would be for an indoor activities, or like set up at a park location, so there would be indoor out stuff, so it would actually provide a new additional park to the area. Instead of taking away, it would just provide a new kind of one that would be a safe space instead of possible crime site. That's all.
Thank you very much.